welcome, remarks, please put your hands together for him as he comes up.
Organizing with AB Communications together with the Rwanda Development Board and also with the assistance of the Embassy of Rwanda here in Zimbabwe and also our government. And I'd like to tell you a story before I get into the presentation. You see, I don't know if it is by coincidence that we have a Deputy Minister here. I think in 2007, 2008, he was one of the top horticultural exporters in Zimbabwe, I think as an SME. And one thing I would like to tell you is we are also targeting to export horticulture to Rwanda. So, Honorable Minister, the challenges you did first. I know you had gone slow on the horticulture, but the press is here is taking record of everything. So when we go to Rwanda, I would like to go with your march to sugar peas because they like them there. Next time, Honorable Minister, don't tell me these secrets because it's difficult for me to keep good news, so I'll tell you later on. Anyway, going back to the business of the day. The Zimbabwe and Rwanda Trade Investment Conference will be held in Kigali from 24 to 26 March at Serena Hotel. And its overall objective is to promote trade and investment between Zimbabwe and Rwanda. And I would like to say, there's a saying that I normally use that if you do your business without advertising, it's like winking to a girl in the dark. You know what you're doing, but nobody else knows what you're doing. So in essence, in Zimbabwe, we know what we are doing, but we need to make the rest of the world know what we are doing. So that is why now we want to take our companies, for them to explore opportunities in Rwanda, and also for Rwanda to explore opportunities in Zimbabwe. What led to us to be here? Last year, I think there was a team where AB Communications with Susan and we had N from our team and a couple of private sector guys, they went to Rwanda. And during the discussions with the Rwanda Development Board, they then told us that they are facing a challenge in terms of fresh produce. So during the discussions, we then said, we've got a strength in terms of production of what? Fresh produce. So we can have it through whereby we then export to Rwanda. But later on, we then discovered that there are a lot of opportunities in Rwanda for us, like if you want to export our furniture, massive opportunity, our services, construction, even hospitality. So the visit is not only going to tap into those opportunities, but also go beyond. And also to make it very nice, I think there is Madame Rwanda seated here. We've got a daily flight to Rwanda, daily flight. And I think the cost of business class is about $400. I'm pulling your leg. But the issue is it's affordable. And also they've got cargo space. And for about 500 kgs, I think it costs about $1,500 if I'm not mistaken. But if we make the volumes make sense, the cost will definitely go down. So if we make the need available, I think Rwanda is willing to come through to make sure that there's cargo available for us to export our goods. To also strengthen the same, so that we guarantee market access. Because what we then did is we then analyzed gaps in Rwanda and also gaps in Zimbabwe. So Zimtrade in the Rwanda Development Board during the same conference is going to sign an MOU that will assist the two countries gain market access for our produce and their goods. So this is a mutually beneficial MOU that will assist all our companies do business in Zimbabwe. And just to give you a snippet of why we are also doing this, if you look at the trade between Zimbabwe and Rwanda, what we exported to Rwanda is really insignificant. But if you look at the total import bill of Rwanda, it's around 2.9 billion. I know it's a challenge, but if you flip it, it also provides an opportunity for us to tap into that market. So these are opportunities that are there for us to export to Rwanda. And also, we are being guided by our national export strategy, which was launched last year by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, President Gideon Mnangagwa. And the thrust is to grow exports to 7 billion by 2023 and 14 billion by 2030. And for us to do this, I think we are also leveraging on the African Continental Free Trade Area, where we need to boost trade between African countries. So this is one specific step towards that. And it will not only assist us get into Rwanda, but also we will use Rwanda as a launchpad into East Africa. So it's pertinent for us to participate in this conference. I think my job was to do work on remarks, not what I was then doing all along. So I would like to welcome you all to this launch conference. There's the mission and conference to Rwanda, but this is the launch conference. And I would like to thank you for coming through and taking time off your busy schedules to be here. I think with these few words, I would like to say thank you, and in Swahili, asante sana.
In the dark here. What is happening is being streamed live by our media partners, and a key player in this initiative, AB Communications, through ZFM Stereo. If you go to their Facebook page, facebook.com/ZFM Stereo.
I'm very happy to be part of this history-making process. We're indeed making history together because this is the first time that Zimbabwe and Rwanda have taken bilateral relations to such heights in the history of both countries. This conference will foster trade and investment relations between our two peoples in a win-win arrangement, as emphasized by the CEO, further strengthen our relations and nurture people-to-people relations and partnerships. The Rwanda-Zimbabwe Investment and Trade Conference will unpack all the available opportunities in Rwanda and enable Zimbabwean businesses to explore and identify opportunities in the country's different sectors, which I must say at this early stage that they are low-hanging fruits. I think still explain much more on this. Rwanda has over the years experienced sustained high economic growth of over 8% average year-on-year real GDP growth rate since 2007. And this makes Rwanda one of the fastest growing economies on our continent. Rwanda provides vast opportunities for investment, particularly in sectors such as infrastructure, agriculture, energy, tourism, ICT, real estate, and construction. Most of you may be aware that Rwanda recently launched the first ever made African smartphone, the Marathon, which presents an opportunity for you to bring here to the Zimbabwean market and many other goods that would supplement what you manufacture here. With the relations between Rwanda and Zimbabwe getting stronger by the day, facilitation of trade and investment in these exciting sectors will be seamless. Another added advantage is that Rwanda's national carrier, Rwandair, has daily direct flights, as emphasized by CEO, from Harare to Kigali, which takes less than 3 hours to travel between our two capitals. Rwanda is an investment-friendly country with an array of investment incentives for investors ready to invest in our country. Most of these incentives are outlined on the website of the Rwanda Development Board, and for the benefit of people here, let me just outline a few. First, online business and investment registration, which takes less than a day. There is an established reinvestment and aftercare department to resolve investor issues after registration and fast-track project implementation. There is assistance with tax-related services and exemptions, assistance to access utilities, water and electricity, to obtain visa and work permits, and an effective one-stop center that provides notary services to the investors. I must also highlight to you that the broad-based economic growth I made reference to earlier is on the back of a good governance system in Rwanda that has a zero tolerance to corruption and frauds and iniquity and red tape. The Corruption Perception Index ranks Rwanda as one of the least corrupt countries on the African continent. There is highly efficiency in service delivery, and Rwanda is top on the continent when it comes to the World Bank ease of doing business ranking. A business can be registered within 6 hours, while a bank account can be opened within less than an hour. Rwanda is a member of East African Community with market potential of over 170 million people and a combined GDP of more than 177 billion US dollar. Another noted advantage is the proximity of the Democratic Republic of Congo, which borders with Rwanda and has a huge market potential, which when you are in Rwanda, you can easily access. More importantly, Rwanda and Zimbabwe are both members of COMESA, a free trade bloc involving 19 countries, which means that there is free movement of people, goods and services between Rwanda and Zimbabwe without the attraction of any restriction, including import duties. Rwanda is also signatory, and as well as Zimbabwe, to 2018 Kigali. Rwanda is, as well as Zimbabwe, signatory to the 2018 Kigali African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, currently being implemented under the framework of the African Union. Our guest of honor, sir, before I conclude, let me share with you some facts about Rwanda on international scene. Rwanda is ranked as number 7 globally as most efficient government. And Rwanda is ranked the 9th globally as the best place to be as a woman. And Rwanda is ranked as the number 1 safest place in Africa. It's the 2nd most competitive economy in Africa. It's the 2nd easiest place to do business in Africa, and is the 3rd country when it comes to cyber security in Africa, and many others. So when we talk of organizing this Zimbabwe-Rwanda Trade and Investment Conference, I think you could not have found any other better place than Rwanda. Thank you so much.
Distinguished guests, media representatives, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to officiate this important occasion of launching the hosting of the Zimbabwe-Rwanda Trade Conference scheduled for 24 to 26 March 2020 in Kigali, Rwanda. The impending Trade and Investment Conference is well in line with determination by His Excellency President Emerson Mnangagwa and His Excellency President Paul Kagame to deepen and widen economic cooperation between Zimbabwe and Rwanda, particularly in the field of trade and investment. May I hasten to thank Ambassador Musoni and his team, Zimtrade, AB Communications, and the Rwanda Development Board for coming up with this noble initiative to organize the planned conference as one way to promote business-to-business engagements between the two countries. We note with appreciation that Zimtrade and AB Communications visited Rwanda in October 2019, and the engagements there resolved to hold trade and investment conferences in both countries. We are pleased to note that in the short space of time, preparations are afoot to hold the first conference in Kigali, with the next conference scheduled for Harare later this year. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to note that this conference takes place at a time when the cordial political and economic relations between Zimbabwe and Rwanda are beginning to deepen following the decision by the two heads of state and government, President Mnangagwa and President Kagame, to set up diplomatic missions in the respective capitals. We are glad that the embassies are now fully operational in both countries. The deepening of bilateral relations will see that two countries cooperating in various areas that include trade, investment, ease of doing business reforms, mining, higher and tertiary education, agriculture, tourism, and the ICT sectors, among other areas. Ladies and gentlemen, on the trade front, it is disheartening to note that the trade between Zimbabwe and Rwanda is currently negligible, with the total trade peaking at merely US 156,000 in 2018 from US 6,000 in 2011. Zimbabwe exports to Rwanda increased from $6,000 in 2011 to just US 90,000 in 2014, before tumbling to US 4,000 in 2018. During the same period, Zimbabwe's imports from Rwanda increased from a paltry US 1,000 in 2013 to US 18,000 in 2015 and to US 152,000 in 2018. The meager trade values show that there is need to do a lot of work to promote trade between Zimbabwe and Rwanda. Immense opportunities to enhance bilateral trade are available in light of the fact that both countries are members of COMESA Free Trade Area and the African Continental Free Trade Area that is coming into effect in July 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, our two governments are planning to work on strengthening engagement and ties within the framework of the Joint Permanent Commission of Cooperation, JPCC, which will provide for a coordinated framework for cooperation between the two friendly countries. Through these bilateral engagements, opportunities and ways to boost economic cooperation will be identified for implementation. For instance, the two countries can cooperate in higher and tertiary education, science and innovation, and technology development. Zimbabwe's skilled teachers could be deployed to work in Rwanda under some framework of cooperation that can be mutually agreed to. Cooperation in the area of tertiary education could also involve enrollment of students from Rwanda at institutions of higher learning in Zimbabwe, where the English language is the medium of instruction. On the ease of doing business and other economic reform policies, Zimbabwe has been drawing important lessons from Rwanda. Rwanda has liberal economic and investment policies and laws that have promoted the ease of doing business. Zimbabwe commends Rwanda for its second rank on the ease of doing business in Africa and 29th globally. Rwanda is recognized as the leading reformer of all time, from being ranked 150 out of 190 in 2008 to 29 out of 190 countries. The Rwanda Development Board's one-stop shop for investment has been credited for attracting foreign direct investment. It is interesting to note that it takes an investor a maximum of 6 hours to register a business in Rwanda. That's been alluded to earlier on in the ambassador's speech. There is room to share best practices between the two countries as the government of Zimbabwe seeks to operationalize the Zimbabwe Investment and Development Agency, ZIDA. In 2018, the chief executive of the Rwanda Development Board, Ms. Claire Akamanzi, was in Zimbabwe to share Rwanda's experience at the request of the President Mnangagwa. Ms. Akamanzi addressed cabinet members, the private sector, and the civil servants on how Rwanda managed to attract huge foreign direct investment within a short space of time. Zimbabwe could also partner with Rwanda in the area of ICT. Rwanda has over the years invested heavily in the ICT sector, becoming one of Africa's leading nations in ICTs. The country is known for the innovative use of technology to deliver essential services like blood to hospitals, and has extensive internet infrastructure which covers over 90% of the country. The two countries could work together to develop joint tourism packages linking the various tourist attractions in Zimbabwe and Rwanda. Tourism is a fast-growing sector in Zimbabwe and Rwanda, becoming the two countries' leading foreign currency earner. Rwanda is one of the only countries alongside the DRC in which mountain gorillas can be safely sighted and visitors pay high prices for gorilla trekking permits. There is need to make use of the Rwanda air flights between Kigali and Harare to facilitate trade and investment between the two countries. In August 2019, Zimbabwe and Rwanda signed a memorandum of understanding in mining, focusing on exchange of ideas in terms of mining skills, capacitating of small-scale miners, and exploration issues in line with beneficiation strategies, among other areas. We are determined to ensure that this MOU is fully implemented. Ladies and gentlemen, may I take this opportunity to encourage the business people and traders to take advantage of this stronger cooperation and exploit vast trade and investment opportunities readily available in the two countries. Zimbabwe business people are encouraged to scout for investment opportunities in Rwanda and establish commercial presence in that country like other countries are doing. Allow me to conclude by assuring the government of Zimbabwe's commitment to facilitate economic cooperation with the government of Rwanda. The private sector is also encouraged to play its part and engage in viable business ventures for mutual benefit of both countries. The private sector should make use of embassies that have been established to advance their business interests. We look forward to a successful trade and investment conference in Kigali, March 2020. I thank you.
To take and grab hold of this opportunity that has been presented